Hey guys, welcome back to TailorMade Scale Modeling. This is the second progress update for the North Africa group build initiated by Nigel Wells. I have been making good headway within the last days, and I'm happy to say that the major sub-assemblies for the Flak41 are finished. I'm about to turn my attention to the Sonderanhänger. What is it? Sonderanhänger 202. And that will be quite an effort. Lots of parts here, same as on the gun. The gun was a hit and miss experience in a couple of aspects. In total, well, I'd say it was fun, but in some points it's a bit annoying, really. Some of the instruction bits, for example, were really, sorry, got blinded. Some of the construction parts actually were made more complicated than necessary because of the instruction. Well, let's have a look at the parts. Overall, it was a very good decision to replace the plastic barrel, which originally is supplied with the kit with this arbor gun barrel. The fit was great, and the overall look is just very convincing. Other parts of the gun mounting were a little bit more difficult, because the problem is that the kit wants to please everyone. Those who want to place it in a firing position and those who want to place the gun in a transport position. And that makes for some complicated errors in the instruction. You need to really check what they're asking you to do and what parts they're supplying, because in some places it just doesn't make sense. It's a little bit complicated to explain that now, but if you're in process of building that kit, you'll probably stumble over it pretty quickly, same way as I did. Overall, the kit design is pretty sound, but in a couple of places they're a total miss. Some parts placement is quite unclear, and you really have to carefully study where you put your parts. I ended up making mistakes quite a few times, having to disassemble already glued parts, clean up and reposition them. The overall detail supplied in the kit is just excellent. You'll find a lot of rivets and smaller details that make the parts look really good. And even though some of the parts are pretty big, none of the parts are really wrapped. The only exception was the core barrel of the gun. Some of the sub-assemblies may not seem much, but actually the number of parts involved to put these things up is quite amazing. Here you're looking at almost 25 separate parts to be put together. Some sub-assemblies are really complicated to assemble. For example, all the gun elevation and laying systems are boxes made with miter joints. And you can imagine that putting 5, 6, 7 pieces of them together, all with miter joints, may end up in some gaps here and there which need to be filled, which is quite complicated without covering and destroying adjacent detail. Many of the smaller parts are designed excellently, but especially with many of the small parts you find molding seams that need to be removed, and with almost 120 parts on thread number B, it makes for a lot of cleanup, especially in the small parts, and it can be quite annoying in some places. while the construction of the gun shields as such is quite, let's say unspectacular, Bronco has managed to put a couple of things in there that are quite astonishing. For example, the opening for the targeting device right there is comprising of about 18 different photo etch parts, which totally stretches the nerves and the limits of the modeler. The cross mounting, here shown in traveling assembly, is a bit of a complicated piece in itself. As well, all the bigger parts are put together with miter joints, which isn't exactly easy and does provide you with a couple of gaps that need filling, and it is quite complicated to get all the feet touch the ground at the same time as well. But in total it's nicely engineered, and you have a lot of parts placing indications everywhere, so it's not as much a hit and miss as other products of Bronco. Alright, and this is it for today. This is Guido Hopp from Tailor Scale Modeling. Thank you very much for stopping by. See you in a bit. Cheers.